I wish I could wax eloquent about our stop at Thurman Munson Memorial Stadium on the last day of June in 1991. My dad was a big Thurman Munson fan. He was mostly a Mets guy, but maybe because he played a little catcher himself in high school, I think Thurman Munson was my father's favorite player when I was growing up. He was generally referred to as Mighty Thurman Munson around our house. But I don't know what my dad would have thought of the ballpark that was named after the Yankees' great a decade after he tragically died in a small plane crash. I think he might have thought it should be more special. Our first game in the state of Ohio brings us to Thurman Munson Memorial Stadium in Canton, Ohio, home of the Canton-Akron Indians, which is also our first stop in the Eastern League. It is the last AA league that we have not yet visited, and this is the first park in that league, home of the Canton-Akron Indians, who are the AA affiliate of the Cleveland Indians, some 80 miles or so to the north. It's a hot Sunday afternoon in Canton, but it'll be fun to see a day game for a while. It's been several weeks now since we've saw a day game, even on Sunday, because it got so hot in the southern part of the country that they'd all given up on playing day games for the year. But here in Ohio, we get another chance. There was nothing especially wrong with the ballpark. It was still almost new when we got there for a Sunday afternoon game. It had opened to great fanfare just 2 seasons earlier when the Vermont Mariners moved west from the Green Mountain State and quickly became one of the top draws in the AA Eastern League. But it felt to us then, and still feels now as I watch our videotape, like either it or we were missing something that day. To be fair, this might have more to do with us than with anything lacking about the stadium. We had just come from 2 charming ballparks in West Virginia with a combined 124 years of history between them. This park was just 2 years old, and we were already beginning to express a clear preference toward older, more classic ballparks. It was blazing hot too, well into the 90s, and although I was initially glad to see a day game, by halfway through the marathon beatdown administered by the Indians that day, the aluminum bleachers had wilted us. It turned out even Bill and Sue got tired, and I'm pretty sure we were both wishing we were near a lake or a beach somewhere, not baking in the heat off an interstate exit. But if the local fans had any misgivings about the ballpark, they didn't show it at the gate. We went inside and found a packed house where pretty quickly the Canton-Akron Indians jumped on the visiting Hagerstown Suns. It's a hot and cloudy Sunday afternoon at Thurman Munson Memorial Stadium, where Canton-Akron has jumped out to a 5-1 lead. And this is the interior of the park. Pretty good crowd on a Sunday afternoon. They had a whole bunch of Little League people here before the game. Some of the action of the Indians bullpen down here, which isn't much with a 5-1 lead. The crowd that's packed into Canton's Thurman Munson Field today hasn't been disappointing. It's 10-1 now. Blowout City. This game may set records for our longest game on the tour by the time it's over, if it continues in the way it has been. I think they ought to invoke the 10-run rule in this one. Had the squeeze bottles they were giving away that day been filled with ice water, we might have all felt better. But most people, kids and adults, seemed to be using them as squirt guns. Most of the fans stayed throughout anyway. The Indians that year finished 4th in the Eastern League, but they were a victim of their own early success. When we left that day, the team was 45-27 and led the league by 2 games. But the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the lineup that day were third baseman Jim Thome, designated hitter Carlos Martinez, and first baseman Reggie Jefferson, all of whom ended up in Cleveland that season and would be leaving the CA Indians soon after we did. Probably the truest indicator that Thurman Munson Memorial Stadium wasn't quite what it could have been was how quickly it seemed to age. The novelty wore off quickly, and by 1995, just 4 years after we were there, and 6 after it opened, the team was 9th out of the 10 teams in the Eastern League in attendance. Meanwhile, the stadium that was built in downtown Akron to become the team's new home offered a steadying contrast. It seemed to have everything. In 1997, the first year at Canal Park, the newly named Akron Arrows had the worst record in the league and still managed to lead it in attendance. I came back to the area and saw Canal Park during my 2003 extra innings tour that went back to all the minor league parks, and I've added some of that video here. The park was and is right downtown in Akron, near the historic Ohio and Erie Canal that gives the park its name. But it is a nice view. This is the area next to the canal. This is the canal here that Canal Park is named for. This pathway made of recycled rubber, which is appropriate here in the tire capital of the USA. Few bars and restaurants had sprung up all around the stadium, and inside it was like a mini Camden Yards, low seating with great sight lines all around, and open concourses with lots of concessions, craft brews and such, right behind the seats so you could walk around and still see the game from just about anywhere. Oh, and there was this guy. Alright, here's a good Akron Arrows fan up here. He's in the tree.
See me?
Yeah, I can see you.
It's not the best seat in the house, but the price is right.
It's got to be a pretty good seat. Now, was that you saying throw strikes over there?
What's that?
Was that you saying throw strikes a minute ago?
No, I gave our center fielder a shot of encouragement. He made a good catch.
Maybe there's somebody in these other trees.
Then the left fielder called me a monkey, so I got some words for him when they come back.
Back in 1991, the mic had cut out again during our closing segment that day, but the Indians went on to a 15-3 win that afternoon. Thurman Munson had worn number 15. Maybe that was the tribute we were looking for.